if you think, all right, I'm perfect, I've got all this figured out, you're not going to grow. So trying to identify the holes continuously, trying to find one continuously, continuing to push yourself to figure out what can I do better, even if it's 1% each day. We hear that all the time. What can I do 1% better each day? But it is so true. And I think sometimes when you get into the thick of it, you stop asking yourself that on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis. But really, what could I do better? What is going to help my team grow? And sometimes it's identifying that you're what is stopping your team growing. I handed over my team in January. I was no longer the best option for my team. So sometimes it's a hard realization when we realize we're the problem. But if you're not going to try identifying that, you're not going to move in the right direction either.
What makes the number one team in the entire state of Florida tick? Well, that's what we're going to be talking about today. So buckle up. Guys, my name is Suneet Agrawal, and I am one of the founders of the Reside platform, and I'll be your host on today's episode. And our special guest is going to let us know what makes the number one team in the entire big old state of Florida tick. Lauren Bowen, the CEO.
Did you just mess up my last name already?
Lauren Bowen. Yeah. Yes, I know it, and I read it. I was all Bowen, and I said, I know Lauren. We're tight.
Oh, man. Oh, 30 seconds in.
30 seconds in. I told you I was going to mess up more than you. Lauren Bowen, the Chief Operating Officer of all of the Robert Slack companies. Lauren, how's it going?
It's going great. Thank you for having me on.
Good. I'm super excited to talk to you about what makes your guys' team tick. And just so our listeners and viewers who might not know, tell us where you work and just a quick background about the Robert Slack companies.
Sure. So as you mentioned, we are predominantly in the state of Florida. So we are a company, this will be our 10-year anniversary come October. So we're not a super old company or anything. We started with 4 agents. We're about 800 agents now. So we started in the state of Florida, and last year was the first time we actually expanded outside of it. So we are fully operational in Georgia, Idaho, Colorado, and Texas as well now. So working on growing out those states and getting them to the number one of each of theirs.
Yes, that's so cool. We haven't really talked about your geographic stuff. So I'm excited to hear. I know you guys teamed up with some great people in those states. So that's exciting. Yeah.
Wanted a little bit of excitement in my life, so I decided to go as non-congruent as possible. That won't happen again. You want to talk about a lot of lack of sleep? Ooh, that wasn't probably smart on our end, but you're right. We did team up with some amazing individuals who made it a little bit easier, but that added some travel to our schedule this year.
Yeah, talking about me and you always talk about travel, so that's good. You guys, I see Lauren, like we are so fortunate to have known each other for many years. Her father was like a mentor to me and always helped me, Robert Slack, so shout out to him. Taught me a lot in this business. I'm very fortunate he just decided to like me, I guess, I don't know. And then we just became homies. So I'm really fortunate and grateful for that. And we see each other at a lot of events, so we always hang out and talk.
Absolutely.
So, real quick, what was those Real Trends rankings for last year for the Robert Slack?
We were number 1 in Florida for mega team, and then 4 and 5 for volume and transactions in the United States.
Yeah, 4 and 5 in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty big.
Got to work our way up a couple more, but
I would say that's good. Good. So let's get right into the real estate fun stuff.
Sounds good.
Let's just talk about Florida so people can get a semblance of one place. Or you know what? Let's go even deeper. What was the name of the team? What city did you used to run?
Ocala. It's where I am still. I still operate out of our original office in Ocala. It's a tiny office. It's where we started with our 4 agents. Our call center runs out of here, but yeah, we're not in a big town. It's not where we started. Actually, big towns aren't our thing. We prefer to keep to the small towns even to this day.
That's awesome. So how many agents in Ocala right now?
We have about 50 agents here. So Robert used to run this team. It's what started the company. I took over the team about 6 years ago. And then as of January this year, I just handed over the reins. So it was a little bittersweet.
Oh, that's so cool, though. How did that feel?
broke my heart a little bit. We'd been through a lot as a team. We had been an uphill trajectory for a long time as a brokerage. And then, COVID hit, life happened. 10 years is a long time for some of these agents to be with our company. Our original 4 agents are still here. So, I mean, not only from a business perspective, you learn them on a personal level as well. You're there when they have their kids. You're there when they get married. When they get a divorce. You're there when their spouse passes away. So, a lot of life happened in 10 years and in 6 years of running the team. So kind of handing it over was a little bittersweet. And I did cry about it. I'm like, how do I not do this? But I'm still in the same office. So I still see a lot of them frequently when they stop in. So it helps. But so my job just shifted a little bit in the past year. So I kind of needed to be able to not hold them back by my time not being fully devoted to them.
Right? That time thing, the whole magical time thing. So you noticed that you couldn't do everything, that you had to give some stuff away. Right?
I had to give some stuff away. And trust me, it was like prying it from my fingers that had to be the one. But,
Right.
I was no longer the best option for them. I wasn't able to support them in what they need. 50 agents is a lot. And we have a lot of changes as an industry coming this year. So I needed to have someone full-time, fully dedicated to helping them grow their businesses as well. Like I couldn't be the bottleneck anymore.
So 50 agents, what's like the amount of average homes are sold, not by you guys, but in the Ocala market?
Oh, the Ocala market's actually one of our strongest. It's a small team. Our biggest year, we did just shy of 1,000 homes with those, I believe it was 45 agents that year.
What?
Yeah, so that was our strongest year. When I took over this team, 45 agents was doing, I think they were doing about 300 homes. Our best year, we did just shy of 1,000. But to this day, those 45 to 50 agents, we always teeter in there. We'll do about 800 to 900 homes themselves.
Yes. So, and where does that business come from?
So we are a leads generated brokerage. So you and Robert met. Basically, I think you formed your friendship over leads, and leads has really, I think, flourished some of our friendships because we started leads about, it wasn't teams receiving leads wasn't really done at the time. So there were a few brokerages, you guys, the Hogan Group, Dejan, Gary out of Nashville. You guys kind of all started it at the same time. So I think that's what really flourished y'all's friendships and how we're doing. What the heck are we doing? Are we doing this right? What should we be doing better? So we are a leads provided brokerage. So we started on Zillow. We actually pivoted to Realtor.com and we kind of went full circle back to Zillow. So we actually operate 19 different lead sources now. So it was something that took a lot of time, a lot of effort, but it was something we were very adamant in. We never wanted to put all of our eggs in one basket.
Right.
So we
tried that, maybe, is what happened.
Yeah, we might have learned that lesson the hard way when we do that.
Yeah.
It will not happen again. So 19 different lead sources is what funnels us in 5 different states now.
19. Wow, that's good. And I know you guys still do Zillow because we just talked about going to the Zillow event, right?
Market-based pricing, flex, and seller connections through Zillow.
Okay, so you guys buy, in the different markets, some you guys buy, some you do flex. Sure, cool. And then still doing Realtor?
Still do Realtor. We're still their largest purchaser in the United States. So we get an astronomical amount of Realtor.com leads, but, they've been good to us. We have been able to find a way to convert them, and it's still kind of our bread and butter. Yeah,
right. Realtor.com. That's where we met, right? Kevin and Realtor and your dad. Yeah, that was good stuff. And Realtor.com still does a great job of taking care of us, as we mentioned.
Absolutely.
So I really like Damon and working with him every day. So that's cool. So you guys doing Google PPC?
We don't do a whole lot of PPC, actually. We have a couple sources that probably consider themselves PPC, but not, we all know who those are. But, we actually don't do a whole lot with Google or PPC. We've been very adamant we want to deliver high converting leads to our agents. I don't always think quality or quantity over quality. I would prefer quality any day over just quantity. And, that's one of the things when we bring on a lead source, are we able to convert them? Can we scale with them? But also, what can we convert them at? Because if you throw 100 leads and tell someone closing half of one's great, that's not really the type of lead I want to bring onto my agents.
Sure.
Fatigue's a real thing. Sometimes they get discouraged. So quality is a big thing that we go for when we provide these leads over.
So not a lot of PPC, probably not a lot of Facebook either. Now, but in the past, you guys have experimented with those a lot.
We have, but unfortunately, it took us about 2 years to convert them or show any type of conversion on them. So it was a lot of time, a lot of effort. I mean, we have a massive database at this point where
Right.
we run pretty much every tech tool that there is going in real estate right now. I say that, but I think we have everything. You name it, we have it running.
You and me, right? We have everything. Yes.
But we have to, at some point, make sure our database is, generating the revenue we want it to, because ultimately that's what's going to keep our company going. Working the new leads is great, but closing out of your database is also going to be an important thing to keep the doors open.
That's what we want more of, right?
Exactly. So the tech and the tools we have running became huge to us. It was an instrumental part of what we were doing. But PPC, we saw it took us about 2 years to convert them, and we got quantity all right, but we weren't really getting the quality. And if I have to run tech on them for 2 years, it just wasn't beneficial to me.
Tech and people
Too.
People grinding the leads with not always the most success.
Exactly.
Right. And, there are plenty of teams out there that have a different story around this than we do. It comes down to scale and the amount of opportunities, right? Like, I'm sure both of us would have loved to have gotten the same kind of conversion we got on RDCRealtor.com as we did on PPC. We could have had a bunch more money, right?
Absolutely. And you know what? I don't want to knock PPC, because you have to determine what's right for your business. Some people, you can scale great with PPC for the budget that you have set and the quantity you can receive. Sometimes that is the best option. But for
Absolutely.
us, it just wasn't what fit our model the best. It wasn't what worked best for our agents. But can you scale that way? Absolutely. I mean, I know some companies and teams just like you do that have done great on them. It just
great, yeah.
And model.
Well, also, I think it's hard. Or I know it's hard when you're used to one thing and you try and do something else.
Yep, absolutely.
Right? Like, we both came up with portal leads, and trying to get like the same amount is different. Like, have a different expectation on it, right?
Absolutely. And the conversation's different. The working them's different. The length of time working them's different. So it's almost like you start up here and then tell your agents we're going, I don't want to say here, but in a way you are, and then expect them to put the same effort forward, very well knowing it's going to take longer time to.
It's hard to, so this is something that I think about often is, well, it's part of my job, is let's get the PPC and Facebook leads first. And as we can scale that, then we can add portals.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, I say we're a portal company, but I gave this disclosure a couple weeks ago or a couple months ago at a conference. Like, leads are great. Leads are phenomenal. Leads can help you scale your company, but they can make you go under just as fast. Like, if you have the process and you don't have the tech in place, you don't have a CRM, trust me, to go into leads is going to tank your business. Like, they are great, but they can be equally as bad for your business if you are not ready for them or don't know how to work them. So I always hear people the leads are going to solve everything. Leads aren't going to solve everything unless you have your processes in place, unless your tech is there, unless your support's there, and unless your agents are still going to pick up the phone. Like, if your agents aren't going to do the work on PPC, they're probably not going to do the work on portals either.
Exactly. So let's talk about this process. Lead comes in. Is it hitting ISAs right now?
Depends what my lead source is. So I do have leads where they come in. Let's say it's an incoming phone call. I do have lead sources that go directly to the agent for them to get it. And I also have lead sources that go to my call center and they set the showing for them. It kind of has to do with location, quantity, quality. Are we able to set that appointment right off the bat where my agent would like to have that conversation? Or is it one I probably am going to have to nurture a little bit and they're looking for more information on it? So we were able to tell pretty quickly which lead source I needed to get to the agent right off the bat versus which ones needed to go to my ISAs right off the bat. Now, any incoming lead source I do have going to a stateside ISA. If they're making a phone call inquiry and it's coming into me, I do have a stateside. We do utilize offshore ISAs as well, but incoming phone calls I do have go stateside.
Okay. And you guys have how many stateside ISAs right now?
We have 15 stateside licensed ISAs, and then licensed ISAs, and then I have another dozen unlicensed ISAs stateside as well. So we're just shy of 30 between the two.
Yeah, and to manage all those teams, not 800 agents?
Yeah, so 21 teams in the 5 states that they manage and route leads to.
Yeah, they're working their ass off.
Still moments. Like
I know how many leads you guys get. They're hustling.
Oh yeah, they are. There's never a dull moment. And those are just the incoming calls, just the phone calls, because we get incoming inquiries as well, where they get them via email or they hit our CRM first, and then they're doing outgoing calls to those.
Okay, so the stateside do all that stuff,
Yep.
and the VAs, something I learned from you guys a couple years ago, pre-COVID, from the woman who works for you with the blonde hair. I like
Debbie,
yes, love her, right?
I know.
I met her through Dan introduced me to her when you guys started really building out stuff overseas. So what's going on overseas at this point?
So we do have a massive database, and that we had to keep working. So we have, I want to say, our support staff overseas is just shy of 200. So between ISAs, TCs, VAs, we have a massive support staff overseas, and we do have various tech running that bubble up to SmartList and or Osiris, Osiris, that they do monitor, and they will call those leads. So basically, a lot of our support that is overseas are for the database. So
they're watching the Slack, they're watching the Osiris integration in Slack and seeing those alerts and popping on those. Do you have them calling or just texting?
We have them calling as well, but we also run call action for the texting in the database.
Yeah, you do. Hell yeah. We use the same shit. It's so funny. Yes, we have the same friends. Yes. I love call action. Like, I have so many text scripts set up. Like, how many? You guys probably have more than me, but
massive amounts. But Jesse's
right?
telling us what we need. Like Jesse has been phenomenal at helping us. Like, oh, you got this. This is what you need running. So I mean, that is a big difference that we run in our database as well.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, the Osiris, because it just shows, it gives you the alerts on the hand raisers like super fast in Slack, which I love. And then Jesse, just because not all the follow-up isn't going to happen all the time.
Mm-mm.
Right? So question about the overseas ISAs as well. Do you have them grinding, calling through the ponds?
Mm-hmm. We do.
A to Z, call the hand raisers too, but just call everybody?
We have a bunch of various smart lists set up, and they each work different smart lists. Like, realistically, I have some of them that just unsunset leads, the ones that got sunsetted through White Logo. I have them that go in and unset these. So, I mean, they have various tasks that we've trained them on in various lists. Travis, with y'all.
Yeah.
Yep. He's a little twisted and likes to show me everything I'm missing in my database. As soon as I think I've got it right, Travis is like, ha, you don't. Here's another smart. So, he humbles me pretty quickly. I'm like, all right, Travis, I've got it. He's like, in 30 seconds, Travis is like, no, you don't. Here's another smart list with 100,000 leads. I'm like, damn it, I don't have it. So frequently set these up for us, and we'll have the ISAs calling through those to show us exactly opportunities that we are missing.
Like, do you guys call like expires and other local leads, FSBOs?
We are really lead generated. Everything in our database. So between the 5 states, we're 1.8 million leads in the databases now. Those are all from the portals, various portals at this time. So we don't do FSBOs. We don't do expireds. We are really generated off the various portals that we bring in.
You ever think about doing expireds, dude?
I manage 19 lead sources, Sunny. Do not give me something else to do right now.
I don't know.
Non-congruent states. If I add something else to my list right now, my head might explode. But
okay. This is a podcast, not a coaching call. Got it. Okay. It's kind of the same format as a coaching call. So let's say that RDC lead comes in.
Mm-hmm.
And do you guys have the calling lead set up, or you do straight to first to claim to the ISAs?
So the Realtor.com leads, since their inquiries do route to my call center to my unlicensed ISAs, their job is to call them within 5 seconds.
Unlicensed.
Correct. They're just getting the showing at that time for the agent. But with Realtor.com, it is speed to lead. A lot of those are shared leads. So there is another brokerage that is calling them.
At least one.
At least one. The more they click, you know how that tends to go up. Yeah. So my job's to get them off the clicking. I mean, I love Realtor.com. If they want to click a little bit less on there, though, I'm okay with it. So we call within 5 seconds. That is our goal. If we start getting above that, we have to hire additional staff to make sure we stay under that. It used to be we could call within like 15 minutes. We were fine. We called that day. We were fine.
That was a long time ago.
I know. Now it's seconds that we have to call. So we set the appointment on behalf of the agent, though. Our call center does have access to the Google Calendars and Follow Up Boss. So they set it directly on behalf of the agent. That way they have a direct outcome of what's going to happen. Here's who's going to be in contact with you. They do double dial, and then we have what's called a no answer list. So should they not answer, they do continue to try them throughout the day.
Okay, cool. Good. Yeah. So same. My RDC is going to unlicensed ISAs. However, I'm doing calling leads. So the phone rings.
Interesting.
Right? Instead of them going in and claiming it, the phone rings and they push a button like a connection from Zillow.
Interesting. I might have to pick your brain on that.
Yes. Well, I used to talk to your dad about that, and he thinks that it would be slower, but all the data shows that it would be faster. But you guys have better conversion on RDC than me.
We've gotten pretty good with it. We've gotten pretty good.
So that's something interesting that we can talk about next time and maybe share on another episode. Okay, so we kind of talked about how the leads come in and what the routing is. And now for the ISAs, you guys set the appointments on the agent's calendar.
Correct.
How do you determine what agent gets it?
So we do, they are sent through round robin. So we do have them broke out geographically. We have certain agents work in certain groups. We try and keep people within 30 minutes of what we consider their home base or their home. The zip codes are put into those groups. And then we do have thresholds set in each area. So typically 200,000 is our threshold in a lot of areas. Some do go down to 100,000, but it is sent through a round robin that way.
Round robin. So the agents just have the appointments set on their calendar.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever had a problem with the appointments happening when you do it that way?
No. Yeah, we the agents know we live by their calendars. So if their calendars are not updated or we get a message back saying, oh, I can't make that time, your problem now. Your calendar wasn't updated. So it only takes a few times of doing that before they have to figure out how this client's going to get showing before their calendars really are updated.
How do you qualify agent to be on leads, to be on appointments?
So we typically, our leads division is what we consider are elite agents. They know how to work portal leads. We have 3 other divisions. We have a salary division, 100% division, and traditional division. Our traditional division is what we consider our newer agents, those who might not have been in real estate very long, never worked portal leads. They go there and they work our pawns and our under threshold leads. This gives them the experience, and this lets us see if they're going to put in the work as well. If they're not going to do the dials in the pawns, they're not going to do the dials in their database. So they have to close 3 out of the pawns or below threshold leads before they can move up to the leads division.
Good. So it's kind of, you got the newbie group. Mm-hmm. Then the 100%ers who probably don't get any leads, right? Right. I have 100%ers too. Question, is that a big portion of the agents or smaller than you would expect?
Smaller than we would expect.
Same. Crazy, right?
And, honestly, I think it's going to get a lot smaller. These in the 100% division, with all the changes that we're going through right now, I don't anticipate this renewal coming up for Florida in September. I think a lot of them are going to phase out of there. Our MLS isn't cheap. We know there's an assessment coming. All these changes, they're not going to want to have to abide by, but this sounds bad. I hope Dan doesn't watch this. I'm okay with it. But, we have to, there's a lot of compliance going around. Are they doing a touring agreement, showing agreement? Are they getting a BBA signed? The one that I have least oversight on is my 100% division.
Yeah.
My leads division, I police the shit out of them. Oh, can I say shit? Sorry.
You can say shit, yeah. Shit. Yeah.
I can look at their stages. I can look at their source. If they want our leads, you're doing it my way. My 100% division, it's like the wild, wild west. I can't police them at all. So they're actually a larger liability to me than what they're doing for my company. So they actually worry me quite a bit.
Same. Okay. So we talked about leads, talked about ISAs. I think it's great that you guys, and I used to tell your dad this all the time, and I never got it. You guys just set the appointments on the calendars. We don't do that. We do first to claim for our appointments based on routing.
Interesting.
And round robin too. I love that you guys do that. I don't know if I can ever do it.
Oh man. It's how we got started. I think we just all perfect our craft though. You perfected it your way, and I think we perfected it ours, and it's 2 different ways, but it's how we grew with it.
You've probably heard me say on stage that round robin sucks and probably just roll your eyes at the other time. Doesn't suck that bad. I got the number 1 team in Florida. I ain't the number 1 team in California anymore. I'll tell you that. We're number 5 or 6. So that's cool. Now, you and I both use all the technology out there.
Mm-hmm.
What's your tell me some secrets. Tell me something that would really help somebody out there about using all the stuff, because we use it all.
Yeah, we do. Like, I mean, you name it, we're using it. We use Ylopo, we use Real Scout, we use Fellow.
Same.
I mean, Follow Up Boss. First of all, it blew my mind the amount of people I heard at the conference last week. They're like, I don't have a CRM. I'm like, how are you even in this business without a CRM? Like, who
You
does
heard that at the conference last week?
Hitman? Like, I was shocked they had a speaker on stage, and he's like, I don't even have a CRM. I'm like, oh my God, don't say this in the room full of people that we're in right now. But I was just like, I cannot believe there's this many people that operate without a CRM these days. So, I mean, Follow Up Boss, I don't think we could utilize another CRM to the scale we use Follow Up Boss. But did I mention Fellow? We use Call Action. We use Texting Betty.
You're using Texting Betty too.
We do use them in both. We try it, not at a great scale. So we have Maverick working in our database and everything. So their VAs use Texting Betty when they're helping find our holes and everything. It's like a competition. If they can't set any appointments, I'm happy. They're not, but that means that if they can't find anyone, I'm losing in the gap. But
yeah, great. You have 200 of your own ISAs, and you still got Maverick folks 100%. In there. Maverick.
Well, that's it too. The first time they started, they're like, we found 14 appointments. I almost wanted to fire all 200 of mine. I'm like, how did they find 14 appointments today? Like, it became a little
test. So smart because, shout out to Preston and Travis for Digital Maverick. And I think that's great. And look, I'm a big VA guy too. I learned a lot from Robert Slack and Lauren and Dan. I literally handheld how to do it with them. So, but yet still using a third-party company to try and find more holes.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think, our group of friends is great because a lot of them are number ones in their states, number twos, threes, fours, fives in their states. We're a lot of big teams and a lot of big companies, but we're never above sharing what we're doing. And none of us think that we have it all figured out. And I think that's a big difference. We're like, I still don't know this. Like, we could be doing this for 10 years and none of us will be like, I have this shit figured out. We're all like, we're still missing the boat. But I think that consistency of thinking we still need to do better, that pushing it day to day, realizing I have to do better at this is what continues to keep our businesses growing. Like, we have a big database. We're not doing great in it. We're not going to do what I consider great in it until I'm closing equal transactions to my lead sources. So when I close equal numbers from the database versus what I'm getting new incoming leads, I'll think we're doing okay. But I need to know, what can I do better? So Travis and Preston, Digital Maverick, they've been able to come in and help find the holes, because if they weren't holes I was looking for, I didn't know they were there. I can identify holes when I see them, but having someone come in from the outside and put a fresh perspective on it really helped you've been missing this hole, like this one filter, this one tag. And I'm like, oh my goodness, how have we been missing this the whole time? So there's a big proponent in what we do. And I don't know what I don't know. And I'm not going to know it unless, we stay humble and realize there is someone who's going to be better at this, probably consistently, who can help us take our business to the next level, whether that's tech, whether that's people, whether that's VAs, ISAs. I am a big proponent of bringing people in to point out what I'm missing.
Well, yeah. And, it's testimony. We were talking about this earlier. You will be at every conference with people front row taking notes.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Right. I actually prefer the smaller conferences these days. I know that's probably not a popular choice, but I feel like the smaller ones are a little more tactical these days than the large ones who are having to cater a large audience. You go to these large ones, and I love them, and I love the people who put them on, but you're having to cater to brokerages, you're having to cater to agents, you're having to cater to teams, mega, small, individual, and making sure people have takeaways, where these smaller ones who might be team-centered like we are, I can have actual items to walk away with that can really impact my business.
Yeah. I mean, not to be biased, but the Cheplack events are really good because it's super tactical.
100%. And that's what I really like. So I went to my first Cheplack event this year. I saw you there. But, I went with our director of ops and our listing procurement manager, and we had a ton of takeaways. And I think that's what really had us diving into some of these smaller events who were put on by teams, large teams, mega teams, and focusing on those because we had takeaways that we could do that we had not previously thought of.
Awesome. Now, that's awesome. Let me ask about recruiting.
Yes. KFR.
KFR. If you don't know what KFR means, keep friggin'. That friggin' word can be. Is that what it stands for, friggin'? Yeah, I'm going to draw the line on this episode. I have you on here, right? Keep friggin' recruiting. So what's working for you guys in recruiting right now?
What's working for us in recruiting? So really should bring Debbie on for that one. So we have a phenomenal recruiting staff. I actually have two full-time recruiters in office, and then I have a team of VAs that help with recruiting. Debbie, our director of ops, we mentioned her earlier. She oversees the
Shout out
VAs.
to Debbie. Yep.
I know we all love Debbie. So, but she does a phenomenal job of what, and again, it goes back to kind of tech as well. What tech is out there to help us recruiting? So, when we started this company, we were putting the ads on Craigslist, and we still tease Robert for it to this day.
You do.
We got a lot of agents that way, surprisingly. I don't think it would work out as well these days, but we went to Indeed. But then, we're using Courted right now, and we've had a lot of great success. It tells you the propensity that someone is going to be moving companies based off of certain criteria. And we've had a lot of success recruiting individual agents. We kind of like the ones we don't really do great with agents that have been in the industry for 20 years or agents that are centered around luxury. We tend to find our sweet spot between newly licensed agents and those who do 1 to 5 deals, 1 to 10 deals a year. So we tend to target those because we're a lot, and we know we're a lot, and I have expectations on how you're going to work the leads that we are providing to you. So someone who's doing 40, 50 deals a year on their own probably isn't the best fit for us because they have a way that's made them successful, but I also have a way that's made us successful in our leads business. So we really focus on, a certain quality, certain type, certain agents. So we've been using Courted. We still do a lot through Indeed, but who we're focusing on is really a big part of our recruiting efforts these days. And we kind of say we have a home for everyone because we do have the 100% division, the traditional,
Sure.
we have our leads division, but then we have a program called Slack Academy. It's a 4-week course for newly licensed agents because let's face it, your real estate test doesn't teach a shit. So it doesn't teach you how to write a contract. It doesn't teach you how to go show a home, doesn't teach you how to open a Supra, but our Slack Academy does. So that's been a big thing for the newly licensed agents, being able to get them that training as they get started.
So you bought a list, Courted is the software that you're using, and they show some kind of AI on people likely to leave. And then you guys call, email, text them.
We do. And we have our own separate follow-up boss for specifically around recruiting. Okay. So, recruiting to us is just like our lead sources. We put them on action campaigns. They get text messages. They get emails. We do call. They get Calendly links to speak with our recruiters. And after they speak with our recruiters, they get handed off to our team leaders. So it's very much like a lead on someone wanting to see a home.
It exactly is. For the longest time when I would be on stages, it was always about lead gen. But what I realized is that recruiting is like lead gen.
Yeah, it 100% is.
And it pays a lot more than one lead. Right? So great. This is awesome. If you had to give some advice to a team leader listening to this riveting conversation today, what would it be?
Oh, if I were to give to a team leader, what aspect? Like to grow their team? What's going on right now?
Get some advice. What would you tell one of your team leaders right now?
Identify the holes. I think that's one of the things that we never stopped doing. Even after I stepped out of the team leader position, constantly identifying the holes that you have, never feeling like your bucket is completely plugged. You have to continue figuring out what could I do better? Because I think that's what's going to continue to move your business in the right direction. If you think, all right, I'm perfect, I've got all this figured out, you're not going to grow. So trying to identify the holes continuously, trying to find one continuously, continuing to push yourself to figure out what can I do better, even if it's 1% each day. We hear that all the time. What can I do 1% better each day? But it is so true. And I think sometimes when you get into the thick of it, you stop asking yourself that. You stop asking yourself that on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis. But really, what could I do better? What is going to help my team grow? And sometimes it's identifying that you're what is stopping your team growing. I handed over my team in January. I was no longer the best option for my team. So sometimes it's a hard realization when we realize we're the problem. But if you're not going to try identifying that, you're not going to move in the right direction either.
I love your answer, number one. It was so good. We just did an episode with our director of ops at Reside. I don't know if you've met her. Her name is Lauren as well, Lauren Rathkeb. She was in Dallas. But we just did an episode on how to find your holes that came out. So if you're listening to this or watching this, it's like 2-3 episodes ago, how to find the holes in your business and fix them. Listen to that. It really resonates with what the COO of one of the top real estate companies in the universe just gave us part.
One of the universe.
Yes. So for everybody listening out there, if they want to send you a referral for a bunch of deals in any of the states that you do, where should they send it?
Lauren.bowen@robertslack.com.
Lauren.bowen@robertslack.com. Yep. And if there's any agents out there in Florida that want to reach out to you about working some of those leads, same thing?
Address. Go ahead and reach out to me directly. I'll get you in touch with our recruiting department. If you'd rather speak to them because they're phenomenal, recruiting@robertslack.com will also get you on their Calendly.
I love that email, recruiting@robertslack.com.
How easy.
Okay. I'm getting that domain as soon as we're done. Sydney, recruiting at bigblockrealty.north.com.
Everything goes through them, so it's fantastic.
Good, Lauren. I want to thank you for your time today. Please. I actually learned a lot. Not actually, of course. I did learn a lot. And she gave me so many good ideas, so I appreciate that. Absolutely. I appreciate you guys all the time for everything over the years, and I'll see you a bunch of events coming soon.
Back events coming up here.
So for all the listeners, I really hope you got something out of this episode. If you did, like, share, subscribe, send to a friend who's in real estate looking to grow, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Reside Platform Podcast. Peace.